Hi, I'm Billy Mitchell with FedScoop TV. Today I'm here with John Sims, the President of Global Sales at BlackBerry. How are you, John?
I'm great, thanks.
Good to have you here today. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about mobility in the federal IT landscape. And the first question I wanted to ask you is, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the government when it comes to expanding to mobile systems and making the workforce more mobile?
Well, I think there's a number of things to consider. The end user is changing, and their expectations are changing.
Sure.
And they're looking for more consumer-grade kind of capabilities on their device. Mm-hmm. They don't really want to carry two devices. They'd like to carry one device and use it for personal as well as use it for their government work as well.
Yeah.
And obviously that creates some considerations that have to be managed. And so the technologies that need to be deployed to support that have to be able to support this notion of you do work things and you do personal things on the device, and what you do from a work point of view is kept very secure and very separate.
Sure. So I'm sure you're no stranger to this. On the private side, mobile is booming. Everybody has a smartphone in their pocket these days and expects everything to be mobile accessible. On the federal government side, not so much. So, how much is that lag, and what kind of things can be done to enable that gap to be, narrowed?
Well, I think in terms of, so it will be a progression. Mm-hmm. In the government space, we would largely have seen devices be completely locked down. Yeah. So that they could only be used for work purposes. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll see a step in the direction of devices being able to be used for personal, but only if you use one of a certain choice of devices.
Sure.
And so there'll be some prescription there of what's okay and what's not okay, and it'll be a step in the right direction so that the end user will then, on the personal side of the device, be able to use some of their favorite apps that they need to. Not necessarily Angry Birds to play games, but maybe their mobile banking app or one of their other financial planning apps or those kinds of things.
Yeah. So that kind of reverts back to the security side of things, and security is a big topic when we talk about mobile. Where is the federal government in securing the mobile space, and what kind of obstacles need to be overcome to get there, and will people ever be comfortable with that kind of innovation and risk paradigm that needs to be kind of figured out?
Well, I think the first thing to understand is the threat to security in the mobile space is not a static one. It's one that's constantly changing. Yeah. The bad guys out there, whether they're with political agendas, economic agendas, or whatever, are fairly smart, and so they will always be probing and poking, trying to find where the weak spots are. So I think it's important to think about the solutions from a end-to-end perspective. Mm-hmm. Not just a piece part, kind of putting things together piece part, because wherever the weakest link is, the bad guy will find it. Yeah. And so it's important to think of more holistically about what the solutions are. It's important to make sure that the solutions that are implemented are ones that users will embrace, and users will embrace. If it really gets in their way and prevents them from getting their job done, mm-hmm. or makes it difficult or prevents them from doing the things they need to do personally, they'll find ways around it. Yeah. They'll find ways around the security barriers. So you've got to enable the productivity of the person using the device as opposed to sort of curb it or get in the way of it. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's important. And then lastly, as people in the federal government are designing these solutions or looking for the suppliers that they might work with on these solutions, they need to think with that security mindset, with that this is a threat mindset. And that reflects itself then in a lot of different decisions that you make as you go through the process. But I suppose if there's one overarching thing, is you got to think about what the end-to-end solution is rather than just piece parts.
Sure. Last question I have for you is kind of a fun one, but it is. Is there some kind of killer app or killer solution out there that could solve a lot of problems for mobile? Is it already out there, or do you kind of envision something coming along in the future?
I think what we've tried to do at BlackBerry is to be able to provide that balance. Always, we've tried to do it throughout our history, is provide that balance between what needs to be done from a security perspective and what needs to be enabled to allow people to get stuff done on mm-hmm. their mobile device. And so I wouldn't say there's necessarily a killer app, so to speak, in that sense. because the apps that might be important to me as an individual might be different than the ones to you, or might be different to the next person. And so it's really about presenting capabilities in a way that makes it as transparent and seamless for the end user as possible. And if we can do that, if we can create that environment, which is what BlackBerry is all about, creating that environment. By the way, not just on BlackBerry devices, but also on other devices for iOS, Android, and in particular working with our partnership with Samsung, we're working around making those things possible and giving those choices to users and giving those choices to our government customers and the federal government.
Awesome, sounds awesome. Well, John, I appreciate you chatting with us today.
Sure, thank you very much.
And I look forward to talking again sometime.
Great, look forward to it.
I'm Billy Mitchell with FedScoop TV. Thanks for watching.